Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Maria Greene here with the November artist for my free 2017 art journaling journey. And this is Joanna Mazurek.
Hello.
And she's actually a local artist, so we get to do a video at my house. And that's kind of cool. And before, I've always been interviewing people from all over the world, so this is special to me. She's also a friend and a great artist.
So, thank you, and we are having a little tea also while
yes.
we are talking, so this is really great. Thank you.
I was really happy that you were going to do the prompts for November. And I know you have a lot of art background. You went to art school, several art schools, and different media. Can you tell me a little bit about your art school experience?
Yes, the first art school I went to was back in Poland, where I'm from. And then it was actually a very short experience, only a year and a half, when I studied textile art. So I really wanted to design fabrics. And that sort of was carried on through my whole life. I did not ended up designing fabrics, but I ended up being a graphic designer. So that really helped me. That was one experience. And then when I moved to the States, I attended the School of the Art Institute in Chicago, and I went to ceramic department, which was totally different experience from textile art, but I really loved it. I really like the feeling of like touching the clay and sculpting and then putting the colors and waiting for the big surprise, which is always happens when you fire the clay. So that was my second art school, and the third one after I graduated the School of the Art Institute, I went to Northeastern University in Chicago, where I studied visual communication and graphic arts.
That's a lot, and that's been 20 years that you were an artist in Chicago.
Yes.
And all kinds of different exhibits and things, and then what happened?
Well, I was when I was living in Chicago for about 20 years, I graduated from school, and then I worked full-time as an artist. So I worked in the museums, in art-related fields, being a curator of small ethnic museum, and then I was working full-time as a ceramic artist. I had a contract with several places in Chicago where I was making projects like tile mosaics and projects for the restaurants. So I was really, really busy doing that. At one point, I was kind of tired of making clay and working very hard with my hands and then being dirty all the time, and plus I am a Taurus, so I'm a very practical person. When I run out of space in my little ceramic studio, I just decided to do something which allows me to have a little space and a lot of stuff. So I was thinking, okay, this is probably would be some sort of digital artwork. So I went to Northeastern University, and when I graduated with the degree in visual communication. So, and I was really, really happy and excited about it. So I started my little graphic design firm with a friend of mine, and then we worked together for a few years, and it was really an excellent experience. And then I was able to create a lot and have everything in my computer, in my file, which I absolutely love it. And then what happened, I moved from Chicago to Florida, where I'm here now. And then I decided that I'm not going to work as an artist. I kind of was tired of exhibiting my work. I had at least 2 or 3 exhibits, either it was a group exhibit or individual exhibits a year. And that was really a lot. And then, so after all of these years, I just decided that I'm not going to continue to do that. I just don't want to start over and apply for the galleries, doing the shows. And then I decided to work with people. And then I went to massage school. I became a massage therapist. And I'm still creating. I'm still working. I take photographs. I do my graphic arts. And for a while, I used to go to ceramic studio, which I made a lot of little small non-functional objects. So that never died in me. I will be always an artist, but I'm using my hands. So when I actually massage people, a lot of people are telling me that, it feels like you're wedging the clay. And I'm like, I probably don't. Yeah, I got the feedback from a lot of people. It says, well, your hands are like an artist clay, you're wedging the clay. I say, yeah, this is like my hands. I love doing that. So that's my little story.
Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of the people in my art group and the ones that are following this art journaling journey come from scratch. They never really tried art, so you have a different perspective than many of the artists that I try to inspire with my art. And I like that because people want to hear what it is like to go to art school and have that experience. So they say, some people say that art school takes away from their unique expression. Did you have that kind of experience? Or?
Yes, actually, I have to say that I did have that kind of experience, and it was back in Poland. That was in 1982, when there was a time difficult for the country because it was under the communism. So anyway, but I went to a very prestigious art school, and then I felt humiliated. I felt like I cannot express myself fully. Because the professors and assistants professors, they put so much pressure on us. We were actually grouped in the classes. So my group belonged to one professor, and once you started with that professor, you ended up with him 5 years later. So what was happening, and I observed this through the artwork of other students ahead of me going to the classes like myself, that every work of art looked pretty much the same. So they were basically under influence of that particular style.
Right.
And I didn't want to do that.
Right.
I really felt that this is kind of, I never felt that this is a waste of time, but I felt that I won't be able to express myself fully. But I don't regret it. I learned a lot, especially compositions and colors and art history. So there was a wonderful, wonderful experience. But as a creativity, I didn't feel that I was able to be as creative as I would like to. I was criticized, you know,
and always following somebody else's opinion, maybe. Yeah. So, but how did it help you develop an eye for art?
I think, you know, I think that I was born with that because I was always very creative as a child. I was always making something, and I always knew that I wanted to be an artist. And it was just so funny because I was going through the documents, and today, a matter of fact, and I look at my grades from schools, and the best grades I always had from art. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. But anyway, when I went to Art Institute of Chicago, there was a totally different experience, and I felt like that I am an artist. Even though I was still a student, I was still learning, but I really felt that everybody's honoring my creativity, my individuality. So there was just totally different experience and freedom. So I felt that I am guided in a positive way, but the individuality was never taken away from me. So that was actually the best experience. The same thing with the Northeastern University in Chicago. It was exactly the same thing. We were corrected, we were guided, but not criticized. We had a critic class. They call it like critiques, but it was in a very positive way, I would say.
Helpful.
Helpful, very helpful.
Yeah, it's very interesting to me. So when you art journal today, do you draw on your background, or is it more spontaneous? Like your art journal can show?
Yes, this is actually one piece. This is from my art journal.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like.
And now.
So I really love colors, and I love 3D stuff, and I love paper. Like all the colors of the papers is another one. and it's probably a little sculptor in me, because I like to cut stuff out. I like the texture. So in this art journaling, what I'm using is like I paint the backgrounds, like the first. I just play with the colors, and I think, okay, what is the color of the day today? How do I feel?
Right.
And then it is purple or yellow. And then I do this, and then I look through the newspapers or magazines. I love colorful magazines, and I see like this one, the little writing here, revolution. And if it speaks to me, I cut it out and I just put it on glue on the page, and then I create the story. And here is the story of love, of gentle revolution, of humanitarian change, the change in hearts. So that's a little story, and I love creating the stories.
Yeah.
I think that art speaks, that our soul speaks through art, and I would like my voice to be heard, and I would like to say something about what is going on with me, what is going on in the world.
Right.
And then here is also a little story. This is actually the whole cage. That's little cage with the wheels, and there's a lot of things is going on with the cage. So the word was suppressed to this little space, and there's a lot of things is going on over there.
Right, right. I love it.
Thank you.
So that is, I would say, maybe your favorite technique, to mix all kinds of media in a piece of art. And I think also you have very unique stories, and some of them like speak of healing and expression of what's in the moment, and that is more real. Do you feel that that's more real to you than just painting a flower or something?
Yeah, I think that's exactly how I feel. That I feel that I need to say something about what is going on with me and around me, and then and the tool I find, it's either paper or words, and I love to put this together. So and it's very important process of healing, because you know, when we suppress our feelings, when we suppress our emotions, and we don't let them go out and express ourselves, then we can really get sick, get ill. So it's actually very important for us to find something which allow us to go ahead and just say it. And then artists, this is for all of us, that's we have a gift which we really need to share, and that's our voice. Poets and authors, they write, and then I think that we, through our creation, we just, you know, find ourselves in the world and talk about it.
Right, right. I agree with that too. How we like go inside and try to pull out what's happening, what life is all about in that moment, because it changes
exactly
all the time.
But you know, the also interesting thing is, like before I started doing something, I just try to connect with it. I try to close my eyes for seconds or for a couple of minutes and just in tune, just think, just make this connection within myself, with my soul, quiet my mind, and let whatever needs to come up to the surface happen and come up. So it's kind of interesting process, because sometimes I create a story. I you know, I put my story on a paper, on a canvas, and then I'm thinking, is that this moment or not? It could be a memory. And that actually, when I was writing about one of my paintings in prompts, I realized that that was about my life in Chicago, one of them. And I haven't seen that time. It was coming out. And then when I started writing about it and thinking, rethinking, and you know, like feeling in it, I'm like, wow, that was exactly, this is what happened maybe 15 years ago, but it was still in me, and I really had this need and desire to say it.
Yeah, and then sometimes when we put words on paper, it makes things clear. Whereas if we just make some art and we don't comment on it or have any feeling for it, it'd be like a dream that's not a night dream, that's not expressed or looked at. So we have, it's like the inside of our beings, there are so many memories and so many impressions.
But you know, I realized, I was looking through the journal before I got here, that I also use a lot of cutouts from the newspaper with words or sentences. And this is probably because I always like to write, like you're a writer as well.
Right.
I mean, not as well because I'm not a writer. I just like to write. But yeah, that's the power of the word. And then with the combination of the background and the other stuff.
Right.
That's what I have here.
Yeah.
This
Color. That's you do
color.
have a lot of different colors in your art.
That's the celebrate. I like the celebrate. I just like celebrate life.
Yes.
We should just celebrate life every day.
We should just celebrate.
And your creativity. This is actually celebrate your creativity, and that's my healing. This is actually it's a chakras. It's
right.
a sitting lady or man,
lotus
pose, and then the chakra. So this is a combination with the healing art.
So do you think your color helps people heal?
I think so. Actually, I remember I was a little girl and my uncle was telling me about the colors, and he told me that green is healing color. And I remember I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, and I remember that, and I think that that's what it is. And I also noticed that depending on the mood, like I can only speak about myself. Like if I put certain clothes on, then I can feel the vibration, the impact of this color on myself that day. And I went, wow, I feel good today in that particular color. I think this is extremely important.
It is. It's very important. And you use all kinds of colors. It's not just pinks and greens.
Yeah, this is a green, a lot of green here, but it's yellow. And actually, I love yellow. But you know, sometimes it's not a lot of colors. Like there's, actually, there is a lot. This is kind of interesting. This is a little bird. What happened here? I have a coloring book with mandalas, so I colored the page, and then I saw in the shape of birds. So I cut it out, and then I use it. So there's not a lot of colors. So the background is completely white.
Yes.
But this is how I felt that day. I just want to have this clarity of white and. Yeah.
And there is something completely different.
Oh, there is something completely. Well, that's completely different. There's no paper here glued to the page. So no collage. It is just the little drawing and
the inner eye, maybe.
Eye. Exactly.
So
here is like another one. No colors at all. Just a couple. Of, see, it's a different thing. But that's
it's all in the moment. It doesn't have to be pretty or look anything in particular. It's just expression.
Yes, and then that's actually freedom. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because it's about the expression at this moment. And what I have realized, that when I stopped creating for the exhibits and for the gallery owners, because they all wanted me to, let's paint this because this sells, I freed myself.
Yeah.
I sort of felt like coming to Florida and taking a little break from art world and from art for creation, just for the purpose of the showing of the exhibit, actually freed me. And I had to actually start learning myself to paint and do stuff from the very beginning. I had to let go of the thought that somebody will be judging this, that I have to take pictures and send someplace and maybe they will like it or no. I completely freed myself. So I'm so glad that you brought it up, because that's really what I do now. I just feel in the moment, and it doesn't really matter. And actually I learned it from you, because you always was telling me that just do it. Right. Don't really like look at it. It's okay not think about it. Just do it, whatever you feel. And that's I liberated myself.
Yeah. Well, art journaling is definitely freedom of expression before, because you're not gonna sell the art. You're not planning on it's just more of a journal, but it's in colors and shapes and words too.
Yes.
And it's always important to put the date on each, because you go back to it and say, oh, this happened last year. what are what's the lesson I got from that, or what was the insight? And like you got when you wrote down about that one art journaling prompt from from our class, our free class. So Joanna will be teaching then in November, so you can still sign up for the art journaling prompts on my Facebook group page. I will put a link at the end of the video to where you could go and look at the prompts if you want to do the rest of the year. It's only 2 months left, but let's say I also read down here about intuition and art, and that ties into how you can kind of read the art and get messages even years later from a piece of art that you did maybe didn't like, but it's in your journal, so you're not going to throw it out. And then you can go back. It's like a visual journey of your life.
Yes,
I love that.
What is kind of interesting is that I used to, when I didn't like something, because I wanted to be perfect,
right.
When I didn't like something, I just simply threw it away, destroy.
Oh.
And I don't do this anymore.
No.
Because, you know, I just like, okay, that was about me at that moment. I created this for a reason. It came out from inside of me for a reason. So I'm just going to leave it. And then there's many pages in my journal which I really hated when I created it that day. But then I decided, no, I'm just going to leave it. And then 2 months later, 3 months later, I go back and I look at the thing and I'm thinking, wow, actually, I'm glad that I kept it. I really liked it. Because, you know, maybe at that moment, it was something in me which was triggered by this piece of art.
Right.
And now I'm like, wow, I'm glad it is out, and now I
Yes. Yeah, art is amazing that way. It really helps. It's like a shovel that excavates.
And also, you know, we are always guided. We have to remember that we are always guided. So when we paint and draw this day, today, that minute, we are guided by the spirit, by, you know, our intuition, by the energy, by our angels. We are guided, and this moment is happening for a reason, and the piece of art is happening for a reason. So just, you know, I had to learn that too.
Yeah. Some of the art in art journaling reminds me a lot about night dreams, because of all the strange symbols that come up, strange pictures and the creatures. Like it could be animals that you've never seen before. It could be weird people.
Exactly.
So it's kind of fun. It definitely is a journey. Each piece of art becomes a journey into possibilities. That's probably the reason why I do that. The art journaling is almost like a need to come out and express what's inside. Yeah,
it's a very healing process, because that's at the moment when you take your journal and you start creating, you draw, you paint. That's actually a very healing process, because you are within yourself with this piece of paper, this piece of canvas, and it's only you and the moment of creation.
Right.
And it's just very profound, because it's just your time.
Yes.
This is about you. It's nothing else exists. It's just this moment where you are truly present and connected within yourself, within your soul, because the art comes from within.
I love it. That was a great way of saying that. So, well, I know that you have a young niece that got hooked on art journaling. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Wow, I forgot to bring her piece. I should really bring her piece, but I never did. She is 7 years old. Her name is Amalia. She's just an amazing little girl. She rides horses. She is totally in tune with nature, and she loves to draw and create stuff. So she comes once in a while and we have our session, and she's like so much into this creation of like art journaling, and she writes in a piece of papers, and she's a little shy
Uh-huh.
when we don't see each other. We don't have a session for like month or one or two. She always wants to see what I created, what is new in my journal.
Right.
So when I did a lot, she goes like, "Oh, I didn't do that much," you know. But I have to say this, that she is extremely sensitive girl. And then when we were during the Hurricane Irma, when we were together in a shelter here in Florida, she started drawing. We were in a classroom actually in a school, so we had a box with crayons and a piece of paper. So she started drawing, and she was so much into this. And then when I saw what she drew, it was actually very touchy, because she drew a water and the wind and the poetry.
Yeah, like the hurricane.
Yes, and then she says, "I love you." On top.
Oh.
And it was just so touching, because then she said, "This is for all the people in Florida who are stressed." And it was absolutely beautiful. And I have this, I just really wanted to keep it. And she gave it to me, which was, I was honored, because usually she's not so, you know, she doesn't really want to share. But, but yeah, that was very special. It was very special. It was her way of saying, expressing her own little situation, because she was stressed.
Yes.
Yes.
And the children they have the purity, and that we have forgotten, and they it's an honor that we actually make something that they get inspired by, and then they take it another step further, you know. So it's like art journaling would just spread all over the world. We wouldn't have any wars. We wouldn't have.
Exactly. You know, it's just so important, because she's just a little girl, and I shared this, and it's so important, because I remember when I was a little girl, somebody showed me how to make something from paper, and I was grateful, because maybe it would never happen. Maybe I wouldn't be an artist. Who knows? I was inspired, and then so. Just really need to inspire people and say, "Hey, are you stressed? Have you tried this?" And somebody says, "Oh, no, I don't know how to draw. I'm not an artist." No, we are all artists.
We're all
artists.
All
do something.
Yes. Yeah.
And it feels great, actually.
I know. I know.
Really.
So what is your advice to a new person? Say you meet somebody and they kind of get intrigued by the idea of art journaling, but they might not have ever tried any art. And what would you suggest they do?
Well, only one suggestion is just go ahead and do it. You know, don't think about anything. Don't think about how it will turn out. Nothing. This thoughts shouldn't be even mentioned. I mean, just take a piece of paper or whatever you're drawn to, and just do it. Don't worry how it turns out. I mean, this is not about being perfect, or not about mastering the style. It's about you. It's about your creation, about your expression, and that's what it matters. Nothing else.
Yeah, right. I totally agree with that. But I know I do come across people who are blocked, you know, artistically, but they're usually blocked in other ways, or they're afraid of expressing anything, basically, because they're afraid because of their upbringing and other suppressive situations that they might have experienced in their life. But what do you suggest as a massage therapist? What is a good way to unblock the energies?
I can be an example, maybe not in the art, but in the singing. Once I was told that I should never sing because I have a horrible voice. And I really believe that. And I zip it forever, and I'm like, okay, I'm never going to sing because I really have a terrible voice.
Right.
So, and I didn't, and then I was really shocked when in high school they wanted me to sing in a choir, and I'm like, wow, this is just impossible.
Right.
But I had this blockage, and this blockage was created by somebody telling me. So I met people who were told, just stop drawing, don't even bother because you don't even know how.
Right.
That can create a huge block. Also, we are afraid sometimes to reveal our feelings. That can be another block.
Yes.
But what I suggest, if anyone who's listening right now, or young artists and people who struggle with opening ourselves towards creativity, I suggest just try and see how it feels.
Right.
Be gentle with yourself. Don't force yourself. I keep telling this to even my clients who are experiencing similar situations. Just listen to yourself. Be gentle and do it like little tiny steps. Like just take this pencil and start drawing and see how it feels.
Right.
And then take a next step, and then and start doing this and doing this. See how you feel.
See how you feel.
See how you feel. Make this connection with your body, with your mind, and spirit.
And often, people doodle when they're on the phone. Maybe more in the old days when you had real phones, but but I often doodle on pieces of paper. That's a way of just also, it's small and it's just kind of going with the conversation, and so doodling is actually a good way to release some of those blocks, because there's no pressure so pressure to accomplish good art is not the goal here. The goal is to experience yourself and to experience an opening toward creativity, an opening toward allowing things to come out, and to allow yourself, like you said, to be visible and to play, to remember what it was like as a kid. We might not have had a lot of art supplies. I know I just had crayons and watercolors and paper, but that never stopped me from so all you need is some crayons and some paper and maybe some water, any colors, colored pencils. So don't go out and buy a bunch of expensive materials, and then just express whatever is in the moment. It's gonna be ugly maybe, but that's okay.
That's okay. I just came from Europe 3 weeks ago, and I went to see this most amazing movie about one of my favorite artists, Vincent van Gogh. And then there was about him and about his life. He was never acknowledged. He never sold. He only sold 1 paintings. So he was always put down by his parents, by family, by the neighbors. People laugh with him. People make jokes. I mean, he really had a very difficult life, but he had this amazing need to create, because he just wanted to show the world who he truly is, what he sees, and that kept him going for 8 years. He was creating and creating and creating, and then look at this, how beautiful his creation is.
And it's all energy.
It's all energy. So you don't, he had to cross over the bridge of the boundaries and all of this.
All the negativity, programming. Exactly. But art will help. Art will definitely help to break down all those conditioned barriers and help people to start expressing themselves in a healthy way. So, well, this has been a really, really good interview.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you very much. I'm going to put a link at the end of the video here to Joanna's website. She is a massage therapist right now, but she is also an artist. So you can always sign up for her newsletter and see what else is available. So I wish you a really, really happy creative month of November, and happy Thanksgiving to all the people in the States.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Paint, draw, enjoy that.
Please paint, draw. And art journal. Collage, and mixed media and everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you.